Hello and welcome everybody to 2017. This is the 2017 P790. They came out with a different version in 2019 and then again in 2023, just updating what is a modern classic already. I need to talk about this club. We need to pump the brakes here for a second. This channel is based on everything pre-YouTube, pre-popular YouTube, right? So I try to focus on everything that wasn't covered and kind of a rolling 20-year period, right? So everything 2004, from now on is vintage. It's 20 years old. Let's just accept that, okay? The Ping G2, it's vintage because it's 20 years old. That's my opinion, my book, my channel, my rules, okay? So this doesn't qualify for that, but I need to talk about it because this hits on the head. This hits the subject on the head. What is the subject? Before we get to that, we need to have a closer look and identify this club. Talking about identifying features, obviously the 790, the P790 is a hollow body forged iron, okay? So back 30 years ago, so they had come out with the burner midsize, all right? So more than 20 years ago when this one came out. And you can see there's a little screw right here where they foam inject this hollow body. In this case, it's a stainless body. Now they have a forged body, and you can see also the same little technologies that they used back in the 90s. We're gonna have a little port here where we can fill this with foam. Whatever kind of foam, it doesn't matter if it's fireproof foam or normal foam or speed foam, it's foam, okay? So they get what they want with that. Just wanted to show these side by side. Technology very similar, just, they're using forged casings now, and it looks different. Okay, now let's talk about the identifying features. Obviously, it says P790 right on it. Easy to recognize. The Taylormade branding up here. It does have this little, how in videos, people will have those little pop-outs. It looks like they have a little banner right here that says P790. And then it kind of matches the shape of the first muscle step, the second muscle step, Taylormade up here, and it thickens up here at the top line. So it gives you that nice, thick, friendly looking top line, even though it's supposed to be mimicking a blade. You can see, in the toe profile when you see the contours, in addition to just that huge weight port or foam port, whatever you want to call it. Looking at this, it does look like there's a little bit of offset. Not sure if that's going to show up on camera very well, but it is very clean. The no nonsense grooves, nothing, distracting about it. Heel profile. It says forged here on the hosel, plain black ferrule on this one. And it does have the speed slot on the sole. Thank you, Adams Golf. And then on the sole, it also has the iron number right here on that awkward part, which is hard for me to show on camera. Anyway, there is the iron number right here. As we move up the tensai shaft in this particular one, we can see regular flex, Mitsubishi Chemical. We move to a Jumbo Max grip. This it's always fun to try different grips and different things on this channel. I was never a Jumbo Max, I don't mind the MCC +4, but this is just a little too big for me. So it's always fun to get this out on the range to see how it does. P790 Taylormade finally in the house. I was excited to get this out. Taylormade has a history of making hollow body irons. Back in the 90s, they made the Taylormade burner, the Taylormade burner midsize, which was a hollow body iron, which I'm pretty excited about. You've seen the video. If not, go watch it. It's technology that they use today as a new technology, but it was developed, in the 90s. They had it in the 90s. So looking down at this, I can tell you straight away, there are some things that turn me off. Number one, this Jumbo Max grip right here. It feels numbing. On a putter, you might want that, but let's see how it affects my usual iron shape, draw shape. And the other thing about this is this feels like, remember in the movie Catch Me If You Can, how Leonardo DiCaprio peels off all the labels and he has a wallet just full of labels, kind of making a point what really are we buying? You remove the label and you're just oh, it's just a thing.
when we peel this back, is it just going to be an golf club, right? It reminds me of, like, what are you really getting? Like, sometimes there's too much labeling going on. Like, for example, California with their warning, their little sticker, this product contains a chemical known to the state of California to cause cancer or reproductive harm. You're like, what is that? And most of the time, they don't even tell you what it is. It's just like, oh, there it is. You're like, thanks for that. They need a label for that label, because that label can cause anxiety, which can cause obesity, which can cause cancer or reproductive harm. And so they need a label for their label saying this label can cause cancer or reproductive harm. And they need to have that label pointing to the other label because it's a circular, joyous, happiness circle of Big Brother. That said, wow, I went on a little rant there. The 7.9, I've hit this several times already, and it feels, and I've hit other hollow bodies from Mizuno and from Titleist. And Ping. And so, what makes this different from those? Just to be frank, to me, this does not look like a blade. It kind of looks like a blade, and I'm not sure, it feels like a cavity back, so why, I don't know. Well, give me a second. Let me hit a couple of these, and we'll see, we'll see what I think here. I mean, that one felt fine. It did feel a little numb. That's because of the grip, not because of the iron head. The wind is left to right, so that went pretty straight. Yeah, you can see that it's maybe the tiniest bit low and the tiniest bit toe side, tiniest bit thin. So, but yeah, I mean, that one felt like an iron, like it says, like a cavity back. It could be, like an AP2 from Titleist, and it would feel exactly, I've hit a Rogue, not Rogue One, that's a movie, the Rogue irons recently, and it felt like that. So, yeah, it seems consistent. Lovely, lovely shape. Those are the shapes that I would love to see on the golf course. Usually, my club face turns over more and I'm getting lots of draws. I wonder if these grips have something to do with that. I'm not going to change I just want to see, if I just swing like I'm swinging, how consistent this thing will be. Which is probably more a reflection of how consistent I am than the club. See, that's a little pulley draw one. Somewhere between the 150 and the 200. It looks like it might have just barely cleared the 150. So anyway, what is in the looks of an iron? Because at address, it just looks, it has a modern top line. It could be a cavity, it could be a shallow cavity, it could be a B cavity, it could be, a blade. They all seem to have a similar top line nowadays. There's a little bit of offset here. Again, nothing that offensive. It's just it's an implement of golf. That's what all golf clubs are, I hear you saying, but that's what this is more than anything. It feels like it's just a utility. Just like oh wow. That one is drawn. It's just into the wind. So here's my question, okay? Have golf clubs just become an appliance that, is hard to connect with? I don't know the answer to that. Like, all the modern stuff to me, maybe it's just because it's new, but I question. So with that said, I need to read your comments, because what's more important than my opinion is your opinion. What do you think of the P790 as far as golf iron, implement of golf? It's superb. There's no other word for it. Let's go back to the studio.
This feels like a iron. A good iron. Which means it's right there with all of them. All the Pro line manufacturers make good irons by 2017. They're all good. They're all going to function more or less the same. A lot of them sound very similar. They all have thin faces. They all have dampening. So what does this bring you? As far as function goes, okay? It's functional. So we're going to roll the clock back a little bit and talk about vintage clubs. What made vintage clubs great? It depends on where you're looking, all right? We're going to talk about two examples. Number one, all of them need to be functional. It has to function as a golf club. This checks that box. It has to be popular. We're talking about, something that is popular so people will remember it. Because if they put out one set, oh, it's one of a kind set, but nobody knows about it, there's not going to be a huge demand for it. One nostalgic person's like, I remember I owned the one set of those. Yeah. So they have to be popular. And then now here's where it kind of forks. If you want it to be played for a long time, it has to be durable, like the Ping I2. If you want it to increase in value, you want it not to be durable. Think about some 50s persimmon woods, which would crack and be filed and wear out. So the pristine ones increase in value. Interesting. So do you want value? Like, do you want the increased value, or do you want it just be a vintage classic that you can play for decades, like the Ping I2? All right. So where does this fall in with all of that? Okay. Functional, I already said, good. It feels good. I've hit it a lot. Good. But when the subject, remember how I said earlier, this hits the subject on the head, the nail on the head. Well, what is that? It's marketing. What are they marketing here with this? You know, to some people, they'll genuinely believe that this brings the best scoring iron that they could ever have. And they genuinely believe that. Okay. If they believe that about some other irons that are currently made, they would just play those because there's not that much difference. Now, the big one for marketing is fun. Okay. They nailed that perfectly. It's visible tech, speed slot. It looks like a blade, so it looks beautiful with technology. Visible technology. You can see the screw right here. You know that it's a hollow body. Taylormade played that perfectly for today's modern demographic. They made something that you feel happy to have, that you feel proud to have, that you can be out there with anybody. They can be playing blades, they can be playing cavity backs, and you're just there rocking some premium golf clubs. That's what they captured. Premium fun. Okay, back in the 90s, when they came out with, that's not the one. There's a number here on the face that tells me this is, it has a number. All right, burner. The 90s, this was before its time. Functionally fine. Oh, sure, you know, it's not a forged casing, it's stainless steel, but it's still a hollow body iron, right? Before its time, before back then people wanted to see the perimeter weighting, and that was fun. Look at me, I'm fitting in. I fit in with all these other cool people because I'm playing some perimeter weighting Ping I2s. And that was fun back then in the 90s. Do you see where I'm going with this? This era will be defined, the 20 teens, defined by hollow body irons. Again, you know, 25 years old at the making when these came out. Yeah. So anyway, it's just like, that's what we're looking at. And I think it's important to understand that. Now, here's the question. I submit these are not the best irons ever made. Let me know your thoughts. In my opinion, these are the most fun irons for the decade that they came out. Not the best as far as function, but the best when it comes to fun. And that's what they've captured here. They've taken a hollow body iron, stolen the speed slot from Adams and injected it with fun, and then bought Adams for copyright reasons, for patent infringement reasons. I love it. This just is the era. So this is one of my favorite clubs because it captures that. And this is why I play golf. I used to work on a golf course. I had a pro teach me all sorts of things, and it all just went out the window. I'm like, I'm not practicing any of that. I just want to have fun with my friends. And they're all duffers too, because we only go out once a month. This does it. This is fine. It doesn't matter what I play. Come on. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Is this the best functional low score shooting iron ever made? Is it the most fun iron ever made? For some of you, it will be both. For me, I don't see it as the best functional. I see it as very good, like any other Pro Line iron, but I see it as capturing more fun than any other manufacturer has been able to do through marketing and design and just making a fun, interesting iron for the era. So, as usual, huge shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. You can also support this channel by visiting my Amazon shop. I'll put a link in the description below. I am an Amazon associate. I make proceeds from qualifying purchases. Be sure to stay tuned for the simulator footage at the end. If you enjoy this content, please subscribe. Thank you everybody for watching. I am the Vintage Golfer.